Hey guys, you are here with Missy Cat, and today we will be making some canned snowmen. Before we get started, please make sure that you do have all of your supplies, such as the first step that we're going to be doing is we are going to take our can and our white paint and sponge. Now the sponge is optional, I just prefer it. And we will put it on the sponge. And then we are going to take our can and just pat it. Now you can hold it on the inside, however, just be careful because if there is any sharp edges. I like using the sponge because it just gives more coverage when you're doing this. And you can see that I am turning the can as I am dabbing it with the sponge. Again, to get that nice even coverage. And we are almost there. You really want to make sure that you don't have any empty spots. Oops, my hand slipped. Another reason why I like using the sponge is, say, you know, you accidentally drop it or do what I did and just like, ah! You could just take your sponge and dab it. And then it's like it never happened. Alright, so once you have your can fully covered in the white paint, you can just set it down and let it dry. Next, what I do is I get my paints and I start applying them to the newspaper. That way it's an easy cleanup and you don't have to worry about anything. As you're doing this, if you don't have orange paint, make sure to have your yellow and your red and mix it together to create that orange color. And again, if you do not have a pink color, you're going to want to mix white, whoops, white and red together to get that cute little pink blushy color. So next, what we are going to do is we are going to take our smaller brush and dip it into the black paint. And then we are going to take our can and put it about in the middle, two little small sized eyes. So if I can show you this way. Now remember, snowmen typically have kohl for eyes, so it's okay if it's not a perfect circle. In fact, it adds more character when it's not a perfect circle. It'll give your snowman a little bit of personality too. So there we have the eyes so far. And I'm just going to touch up on the little side here. Make it a little bit more rounder. There we go. Next, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to estimate where you want to put the nose. So typically for the nose, I will put a straight triangle shape, just like that. So he has a bit of a big nose, and that's okay. Again, adds character. So once you get that nose done, you're going to want to start working on the mouth. Now for the mouth part, I like to do the blush on each side first, and then I go in and put the little kohl smiley face dots. So with that being said, I'm actually going to be using my bigger brush for this. And again, if you don't have that pink color, just mix white and red together and you'll get that lovely little blush. There we are. So now we have that. And I typically like to put the blush on right around this side and then right around this side somewhere. So our snowman is going to have a big smile because he is happy it's winter. And again, it's okay if it's not a perfect circle. So far I have one. And now for the other side. Now what I also would like to mention is that because it's a can, I like to do a somewhat slanted smile. So for instance, there is the blush right there. So I'm gonna put the other one right about here actually instead. There we are. And make it a little bit more rounder. Same on the other side. There we are. Now we are going to go back to the black. And I typically will put a little bit of black right on top of that. Just like that. And I do about 4 little dots. And I space them out evenly. And then again, just right on top. And there we have our little smile so far. Just gonna do some touch-ups real quick. There we are. Now then, next what we are going to do is we are going to clean our smaller brush. So you want to get that little container of water that you have. I use a little plastic container, but this is strictly for art. So again, that red and yellow mixed together will create that nice orange color if you do not have orange. And then we are going to fill in his nose. Oops. Need to mix it a little more. Alright. What I like to do also is I like to dab the paintbrush on the newspaper just so I know I have the correct color that I want. That I'm particularly going for. If it's darker, if it's lighter, all that. Okay, so now we are going to fill in his nose. And you want to hold the can like this. I find that it's a little easier to do it this way. And then once you're going in at the very small part right here, you want to be very careful. And if you mess up, it's okay, you can paint over it. Try to use the very tip of the paintbrush. And I typically do this right after. I don't really let the black dry too much, only because I like how the black blends in to create a little bit of a darker orange color. again, more characteristic. So once we have that done, we are going to wash our small paintbrush again, and we are going to go back to the black color. As soon as my paintbrush is done being clean, there we are. Alright, and be sure to get all that excess water off. Okay, now for this part, it can be very, very tricky. So again, take your can. I typically hold it sideways. What I do for this, if you want to make the nose a little bit more detailed, you are going to put lines up and down vertically on the nose. Now try to use the very, very tip of your paintbrush. If I can show you, that very, 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 very tip. Sorry if it's not as clear. I don't have the best quality of camera. So when I'm doing this, I will typically put 3 lines, and I will start, see if I can get in here to show you guys. I will draw 1 line down very, very gently. There we are. And now I'll draw 1 line up midway. There we are. And then I'm going to draw another one down. And there you have your little nose. Now for my snowman, I'm going to put eyebrows on. This is optional. I just think he's a happy little guy and he wants some eyebrows. So I typically just put a little line. Make him very expressive. And then there you have your little snowman can. So there, so far we have our little snowman. Now if you want, you can just stop at this step. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more detail, and this is completely optional. So the first thing that I'm going to do is that now, since it's all dry, I'm going to get some Elmer's glue. There we go. Ah! It's so messy. Alright. So, and what I'm just gonna do is glue around the can. And this is so that we can add some glitter to this can. Make our snowman a little bit more shiny and sparkly. And typically what I do is I put it all around the can. As you can see, I am turning the can as I do this. Now when it comes to the face, however, I don't like to put too much glue. So for instance, I'll put a little bit on top, a little bit right here and right there, down at the bottom a little, but not too much. Right, so now that we have that done, we are going to get our glitter. Can you tell I love glitter? Alright, so now that we have our glitter, and I used extra fine glitter, Walmart, and I typically put it on one little section. And then now, take our can like this, be sure to have it like your hand on the inside. Again, be careful of any sharp edges. And I just go back and forth like this to create an even spread. And this is also why the newspaper is very handy. Easy cleanup. And we are just about there. Alright, so shake off the excess of whatever's still hanging on. There we are. Make sure that you got full coverage everywhere. And it looks like we did. So now our snowman is a little more sparkly. So once you have all that glitter on your snowman, he is complete. Thank you for joining me today, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Again, you're with Missy Cat, and this is Do It Yourself Snowman Can.